Welcome everybody to this, and thank you for the opportunity. So today I'd like to talk to you about 3 challenges that growers face that have yield and quality impacts. They're perennial problems, they're always there, and so we can't get away from them. The 3 issues are diseases, nutrient deficiencies, and plant stresses, the stresses that plants go through in the growing season, abiotic in particular. And today we will have a look at 3 Verdesian technologies that address these 3 perennial challenges. So we're going to look, and the order's a little bit different to what Terry mentioned. We're going to look at the phosphites, our polyamine range, and then Crop Plus. Or, if you want to skip the work part, there may be a link at the end where you can sign up to the Michael Bloomberg School of Simple Ag Solutions. Okay, so phosphites. Let's start by looking at that from the grower challenges that we face. So the challenges that growers face with regard to disease management is obviously plant health and plant nutrition. Additionally, there has been a rapid increase in the amount of crop pathogen resistance problems that we find in fungicides. Early in the 1970s, if you were around, you would know that benlate and Benamil gave a systemic action that gave it the edge over mancozeb and other copper products that were out there. But over a short space of time, fungicide resistance on these single mode of action crops, crop protection systems began to develop. So there is fungicide resistance in many crop pathogen combinations. Because of these single mode of action crop protection systems, there are limited annual applications that you can use. In addition, legislation is moving us away very rapidly from toxic chemical use, and we need to now start focusing on the long-term sustainability for all of us, for the soil as well as the humans that interact with it. And then obviously the nutrient use efficiency and sustainability challenges that growers face. Our growers need to get the most output from every unit of input. They need to get nutrient use efficiency products and systems in place. So the phosphites are one opportunity to be involved in that. Now, those who are familiar with phosphites know that not all phosphites are in fact created equal. What makes the Verdesian phosphites unique is that we have a number of issues. Firstly, we have a number of fungicide and nutrient registered phosphites. They are very unique in the stabilization technique that was developed at UC Riverside by Professor Carol Lovett, a very powerful tool. Phosphites are, as we are aware, involved in SAR, systemic acquired resistance, which allows the plant to fight the disease. So as we apply phosphites, they stimulate a systemic acquired resistance, so the plant fights back itself against that disease. That allows us to mix and change chemistry to reduce that prevalence of resistance, because the phosphites are exempt from resistance. The phosphites that we have also improve fruit set, yield, and quality. We have, as I mentioned earlier, a wide range of nutrient registrations to suit your specific need, with Nutrifite being the world leader in phosphites. One of the, again, developed by Professor Carol Lovett at UC Riverside. Nutrifite is the world leader, the first place technology in phosphites. And we offer both plant health and nutrition options. I'm going to do this a little bit differently, because fundamentally, I think that stabilization in our phosphites is key to nutrient use efficiency. Why is that? Well, the phosphite, PO3, is an unstable molecule, and it will oxidize. It will take on a positive charge molecule very quickly, or over time oxidize to PO4, a phosphate. The metal cations that we find in fungicides and in various micronutrients will render, unfortunately, both the PO3, the phosphite, and the micro less effective because of that chemical reaction. We have very wide ranges of tank mixes with multiple chemistries involved. As a result, stabilization is key. It becomes more and more important when we combine chemistries in our disease management programs. So the proprietary stabilization developed by Professor Carol Lovett is more and more important to ensure that we get what we pay for. The most expensive nutrient or disease management program is the one where you don't have the availability of what you pay for. So we need to get more out of every dollar that we spend. This is a slide that's a little demonstration that's going to take 16 seconds, and I'd like you to pay attention. What we have is a 5% copper solution that's going to be added to 10 different tubes. Just for your reference, the tube on the far left, number 10, is the control. It's just distilled water. So all the others are phosphites that are readily available in the market. Let's have a look and see what happens to that. I'm applying the same amount in each tube, and you can see that with immediately, in fact, there is a chemical reaction. There's a precipitation that's taking place. Number 10, remember, is the control. Nothing at all. 8 and 9, again, nothing. I'm just going to run that again so that we can watch that again. Immediate reaction, some more noticeable than others, but a response nonetheless, except for these 3, with number 10 being the control. Why is that? Fundamentally, stabilization is crucial and should be a non-negotiable when you are looking at phosphites. Of the 10 tubes, we had 4 fungicide-registered products, 5 nutrient-registered products. The only ones that did not precipitate out were the stabilized Verdesian phosphites. Tube 8 and 9, they were stable. As a result, the copper was useful and your phosphite was useful. Now, it's not only restricted to copper. Any of the metal cations, as I mentioned to you, will react very quickly with an unstabilized phosphite. There's an example of magnesium on the right-hand side in the glasses. You can see after 10 minutes the difference between a stabilized and an unstabilized phosphite with magnesium added, the copper and the iron. Stability is crucial to ensure nutrient use efficiency, or you will lose some or all of what you have applied to your cropping system. All right, now let's go back. We're going to start kind of at the beginning, but I wanted you to understand the importance of stabilization in a phosphite, because not all phosphites are the same. So phosphorus P is, as we know, an essential plant nutrient, critical in many aspects. In fact, if you have a deficiency of this, your crop is going to be severely restricted anyway. It's essential. Phosphorus is essential for all living cells. The difference between a phosphite and a phosphate is essentially one less oxygen molecule. The molecule on the left, the structure, you can see there's only 3 oxygen molecules attached to that central P, that central phosphorus element. On the right, you can see there are 4 O's. There are 4 oxygen molecules attached, and that's the difference between a phosphate and a phosphite. This structural difference makes the chemistry and behavior quite differently. A PO3 on the little diagram on the right will have optimum leaf absorption and then translocation right down through to the roots or the plant places where that nutrient is required. Phosphate, however, the PO4 remains on the leaf surface and is unavailable for other processes that are out there. Let's have a brief look at some of the fungicide-registered products that we have in our phosphite range. Well known and documented, the foliar response to phosphites is that systemic acquired resistance, a non-resistance forming ever process of the plant's ability to fight back against diseases. So therefore tank mix options are increased. Additional mode of action for addition to another in conjunction with other crop protection programs is available. We have a non-toxic chemistry to the environment or to people that is being applied there. So there's no toxicity concerns that we have. No resistance build-up to the systemic acquired resistance. Fungiphyte and Fungiphyte cereals are registered for uses in the grains, and they target DON. They increase plant health. The photo on the top right indicates a greater root mass when plants are treated with a fungiphyte, so you have an increase in plant health. The Petri dish is an anthracnose control program. The untreated or control at the top, and then the control demonstrated below that. A very wide range of control targets that lead to plant health and increase and therefore improve pre and post harvest and crop performance. So Oomycetes, Pythium, Phytophthora, the list is there for you to see. A very wide range of options open to our plant health through the Fungiphyte and Fungiphyte cereal opportunities to us. Let's move on to the Nutriphyte section, the nutrient registered phosphites. Again, a very wide range of additives, the K, the P and K, sulfur, iron, manganese, zinc. So there are a number of options open to you for your particular need, with a PO3 molecule, remember, being easily absorbed into the leaf and therefore carrying the specific additives and the needs and the micros right into the plant at crucial times. We have a wide range that includes our Plus technology, bottom left, which is the auxiliary auxiliary bud growth regulator. So it is able to improve the persistence of auxiliary buds. On the right, the NutriGrow enriched technology for turf and ornamentals is a nitrogen assimilator with, again, a great diversity of additives that you can put into that. Let's see some of the control that we have. Fungiphyte on wheat in Manitoba, Fusarium control. The important thing is you can see that the two right-hand bars are traditional crop protection chemistries, and when you add Fungiphyte to it, your control is increased. So the benefit of the added mode of action, the systemic acquired resistance mode of action, is beneficial. Here we have Fungiphyte being added to a number of other crop protection programs, and you can see with the addition of the phosphite, you have added control. Here we have concentration of DON reduced significantly in standard crop protection applications to the cereals. Nutriphyte Plus in a lemon orchard and a citrus application, 21% more fruit, heavier, and so ultimately a greater outcome in yield as you apply the Nutriphyte with the Plus technology added to it. Phosphite treatment on canola increases plant health and early root growth. We have the two blue bars are the comparison against the untreated, and there is a significant increase in root biomass, which will ultimately set up the plant for maximum potential throughout its growing season. So, summary of the phosphites. The product shows excellent yield, quality, and plant health benefits. Please remember that stability allows maximum. Important tank mixes. Very seldom is your farmer going to go out there and do a single run for a single mode of action or a single bit of crop chemistry. So the stability of the phosphite technology, the unique stability of the phosphite technology that we have, offers multiple important tank mixes. Please be careful of low quality phosphites and products. You may get cheaper products, you'll probably get what you pay for. With the addition of Takeoff and Plus technology, there's increased utility for fruit growers. Application rates are dependent on a number of factors, so let's, if you have a particular need, let's talk about it. But fundamentally, the Fungiphyte contains around about 3 pounds per gallon of phosphite. The Nutriphyte, or the nutrient-registered phosphites, have about 6 gallons, double that. So you have sufficient application of phosphites available to you. Citrus and calcifite can be applied at various timings, but again, dependent on why you want to apply it. The size of your tree, is it a recovery? What are you trying to achieve there in your application? So let's be aware of that. So phosphites, particularly or specifically Verdesian stabilized phosphites, have a wide range of applications in specifically the disease management area. Okay, let's switch gears, move over to the polyamines, and have a look at what our polyamines offer to you. Again, the grower challenges that we face are, number one, obviously micronutrient deficiencies differ from region to region. Higher crop yields result in higher removal rates of all of the nutrients that we have, and so we need to be aware of the replacement of those, because Liebig's barrel on the right there is very clear that whatever is your limiting factor, that's the maximum output that you're going to have. And if it's going to be micronutrients, we need to be careful. And as we do tissue sampling throughout the season, that does indicate a deficiency. Unfortunately shows, if you do see a deficiency, that your yield potential has already been affected. So an immediate response may be required, and there's nothing better than our polyamines to get through to that very quickly. So we get a better nutrient use efficiency and sustainability issues. Micronutrients are applied in small quantities, but they do have macro effects. More specifically about our polyamines, it is essentially a 2-in-1. We got an organic and a conventional label for most of our products. There's one that isn't, that's boron. We'll discuss that later. What's unique about our polyamines? Firstly, it's a plant-based amino acid. Because it's a plant-based amino acid that complexes the micronutrients, it is plant accepted. It's not an animal or a synthetic or an EDTA. That is not plant accepted. The plant-based amino acid allows for rapid uptake. The molecule is small. The size of a polyamine, the amino acid molecule, is around about 160 Dalton. EDTA is double that size. And the lignosulfonates, as you may know, are huge. They are up to 30,000 Dalton size. So very big difference in the size of the molecule, which allows the translocation through the stomata of the leaf or the other places where the leaf will absorb your the applications that you've got there. I saw a picture the other day, one of our guys illustrated. It's like trying to get that oversized sofa. You've all done this. You've tried to get that oversized sofa through a door that's too small. Doesn't matter how much you try, it's not going to work. Using our polyamine, a small molecule, really is important to you. Can be applied. Another really important issue is the neutral charge of the amino acid, which means that the plant does not expend energy utilizing what is available to it. Soil and foliar application, and in addition, our added technology allows the liquid to remain hydrated longer and even allows for multiple rehydration, extending that absorption window for the polyamines. Unlike the synthetic EDTA or animal-based amino acids, we have a plant-based organic and amino acids, the same agents that a plant uses intentionally for the transportation of the metallic cations that it needs in various quantities. The carrier molecule, because it's plant-based, is actively utilized by the plant once it's done its job of carrying the various nutrients in. As I mentioned, it's a 2-in-1, the organic or the conventional. On the left, you've got calcium, copper, iron, manganese, magnesium, We have a micro pack as well as the zinc. The only one that is not OMRI listed is the boron. So you have both organic and OMRI on those on the left-hand side. The element mixes are boron 5%, calcium 5%, copper 2%, iron, and so on and so forth. So we have great ranges of single element products as well as the multi-pack, which includes magnesium, copper, iron, manganese, and zinc. So a great range of the various micros that you can use specifically for your needs. So in summary, why the polyamines? Here are the key things. Neutral charge of the molecule that takes it in. Very energy efficient. Your plant does not require excess energy to convert those nutrients into plant available uses. The molecule is small and therefore very easy to be absorbed and taken up by the leaf. The amino acid is a natural complex for the micronutrients that we have available, ensuring nutrient availability. I mentioned to you earlier, if you're doing a leaf sample and you show a deficiency, you're going to need to fix something quickly on that, because if it's showing you a deficiency, your potential is already being lost. So providing an on-demand availability for micronutrients is essential, and the amino acid complexing will do that quickly. Because it's a small molecule, because of the neutral charge, it allows for rapid, efficient, and effective use. And that efficient absorption and translocation will allow your plant to utilize what's applied throughout the whole plant. Nutrient use efficiency is what it's going to be focusing on. Okay, and then finally, Crop Plus. We're going to look briefly at this technology. Have you ever heard the saying, and I'm sure you have, that your crop has its biggest yield potential when the seed is still in the bag? Before you plant it, we know that whatever we have has got the greatest yield potential. And unfortunately, abiotic stresses and the stresses that we face are the largest contributor to yield loss in any growing season. Once it gets out there, your plant, your seed, whatever it is going to be exposed to the environmental stresses, the abiotic stresses that will reduce its yield potential. And these abiotic stresses can reduce your yield by up to 65%. So that's clear. We all know that that's fair enough. What can Crop Plus do, and why is it important? So abiotic stresses trigger the overproduction of reactive oxygen species within the plant. Under non-stress environments, reactive oxygen species and antioxidants are in balance within the plant. That's under normal conditions. They balance each other out, and so the antioxidants control the reactive oxygen species. When a plant is put under stress, or it's in a stressed environment like high temperature, low temperature, drought, the response is to produce reactive oxygen species. They are chemically reactive oxygens that can break down cell structure and the cell mechanism and have a negative impact on plant performance. Damage to cell walls and membranes will ultimately result in a yield reduction. Can we overcome that? Can we protect our yield potential? Yes, we can. So the important thing is stress management during the critical stages of crop development that will result in the greatest yield loss. Overcoming environmental stress during these critical stages of crop development will improve our outcomes. So the more severe the stress, the greater the potential for loss to yield. How does Crop Plus help? Crop Plus is a combination of fermentation metabolites, naturally complexed micronutrients, metabolically important plant extracts, things that the plant uses in its normal growing cycle, and natural adjuvants. The unique combination of all of this, found only in Crop Plus due to that proprietary fermentation process, allows for the production of antioxidants. The plant amino acids are natural adjuvants due to their small size and neutral charge, very similar to the polyamines, right? So small molecule, neutral charge, efficient and effective leaf penetration, uptake, and translocation within the plant. So Crop Plus is a great opportunity to improve stress tolerance. How does it do that? So the high antioxidant activity will restore the balance that was there prior to that stress event. Abiotic stress on the left leads to the overproduction of the reactive oxygen species, but antioxidants can limit that damage, and Crop Plus will increase the antioxidant activity and balance out those two factors. So on the right hand side we can see an illustration of Crop Plus and the increase in antioxidant activity protecting the plant from an abiotic stress. We've got our control and treated on the left, and the stress that was used here was cold, so 23 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours, the control versus the treated. On the right, the reactive oxygen species and the antioxidants indicated by the little red and blue circles are more in balance. On the left, the reactive oxygen species dominated and as a result caused damage. How does it do that? So Crop Plus works within the plant cell to restore the balance between reactive oxygen species and the antioxidants. If you look at the right hand side, the ROS, the red circles, and the antioxidants are in balance, and therefore the cell continues to operate under normal circumstances. Under the stress environment, the reactive oxygen species are the production of them is increased, and that results in widespread inner cell damage, including the cell membrane, the cell DNA, and many of the cell constituents are damaged by the reactive oxygen species. Including Crop Plus with its high antioxidant ability will give you better plant health and reduce the negative impacts of these stress occurrences. The beauty of the antioxidant activity is that it can be measured. Add Crop Plus into that DPPH solution, and as the effectiveness of the antioxidant activity is measured, the purple changes to a yellow or clear color, and the trial indicated that Crop Plus has at least 7 times higher antioxidant activity than leading competitor products out there. What does it work on and how can I use it? Well, anytime you're going to have abiotic stress, that's the time when you want to place it and apply it into your system. So we've had proven results in peppers and onions, alfalfa and other tuber crops. The application timings are on the label to see, but it's at 8 fluid ounces per acre per application. We've got some trials running this season on a number of specialty crops in California, so we look forward to those results. Some short-term results that we have seen on peppers and on onions, a 12 and nearly a 20% increase in yield based on the treated versus untreated and stress environments. Summary again, Crop Plus is a meaningful control for crop stresses during those crucial mid-vegetative through to the reproductive stages of your crop. The stresses, the abiotic stresses that we face could be temperature, heat, weather, moisture, a number of different stresses that we face, and Crop Plus is a great tool for the management of stress.